spitting facts. I'm about balance and I got talents. Every challenge I overcome. Low-key is savage, never be average. Give me a task and I'll get it done. Minding my business whenever I come in. I'm handling business while I'm having fun. I ain't worried about winning, but that would be dumb cause there's no competition. I already won, huh? Yeah.
Peace, 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 family. How you all doing? I hope all is well with you. My name is Keisha. I'm the owner of Astrologiks, and I am your astrology coach. Today, I'm going to be discussing the new moon in Aquarius at 9 degrees, happening on January 29th or 28th, depending on wherever you are in the world. And so, new moons happen whenever the moon is conjunct the sun, so you could see that right here. But what I really wanted to get into was this right here. This North Node, Neptune, Saturn, and Venus in Pisces. Now, it's important for me to note that the Pisces energy is in no way connected to the Aquarius new moon. However, because the date of the Aquarius new moon in the background, Venus enters its shadow phase. And shadow phase is just a few weeks before Venus goes retrograde. And so anything happening starting at this time, you can expect that it's picking up on that energy, right? And so it's really important for me to mention that, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in just a second. And it's also going to be trine Jupiter and Gemini, and Uranus will go direct the next day. And there's a whole bunch of other stuff going on with this. That's there's just going to be a lot going on. But I think the most important thing to mention with this is that we will start to feel like the retrogrades are easing up energetically. Things might start to move faster. It's going to be a lot busier. There's going to be a lot more communication. It's an air sign. We want to talk. We want to move, you know? And I thought that's probably the most exciting news to all of this, but I just wanted you guys to see the chart so you know what areas of life you're looking at when you pull up your own chart. So you want to look for Pisces symbol in your chart to know what's in there, because there's going to be some stuff brewing up underneath the surface in the background. You're really not going to notice it just quite yet, but trust and believe it is happening on a soul level, on a more intuitive level. And then obviously you want to look for the Aquarius symbol, because that's going to be where you're setting your new intentions. I would take notes during this video so that you know whatever strikes you when you hear it, that's what you want to set your intentions on and do your manifestation, whatever it is you do. And then Uranus is going to go direct. Now, we've had Uranus and Uranus for a while, so it might not seem like it's a really big deal, but because Uranus is one of the co-rulers of Aquarius, it's probably going to be the strongest energy. And so we're wrapping up Uranus and Taurus energetically, lessons, what we learned, what we're getting ready to set in stone before it moves into Gemini. And then the most beautiful part about the Aquarius new moon is that Jupiter in Gemini, so you want to look at your Gemini chart, is trine the Aquarius new moon. And Jupiter is going to expand on that air energy, which is going to be absolutely fabtabulous. There's always a downside, and again, I'll talk about that stuff too, but just so that you guys can prepare. And so, this new moon is at 9 degrees. 9 degrees is a Sagittarius degree. And so this can represent big global changes. Sagittarius rules, global things, other countries, things with other countries. Anything with traveling to other countries, learning from other countries, other cultures. I think those things are going to be actually really, really big throughout the years. Even though Jupiter's going to move into Cancer, we'll still be, for the next 2 to 5 years, learning through Jupiter and Gemini. And so I really do think that learning other cultures and incorporating those cultures into your Cancer area of life, family, and your home environment are going to be really, really big. This can also be incorporating new spiritual practices, new religious beliefs, whatever your preference is. And it's going to not only be happening on a personal level, but worldwide. And in that sense, it's going to change the way we see the world, the way we view the world. Our philosophies are going to change. Our beliefs, morals, and ethics are going to change on a really expansive level when it comes to home and family and culture, and how we live our lives. I think we're going to see a lot of legalities, people suing people, companies suing people, companies suing companies. We're going to see a lot of legal action going on here. We are going to see legislation and laws changing on a pretty drastic level. I think we're already kind of seeing that with Donald Trump in office. And so it'll be interesting to see, what he's trying to change and how that really all plays effect. I think the biggest thing we can all agree on at this very moment is the immigration stuff and how that's all being played out, which, I'm real hesitant to believe that any of that stuff is really going on. Just because I don't trust anything I see on TV these days, to be quite frank. Unless a real person tells me they're experiencing this, I'm like, yeah, go tell somebody else some lies. But I think what we need to keep in mind is that law around the natural birthright. And whether we like Trump or not, what Trump is doing is, again, aligning America to its natural roots of its Republican Party from the perspective of the abolishment of slavery. And so we don't have to like it, but we do have to know the facts and the truth. And the truth is that the Republican Party was meant for real freedom. The Democratic Party is not. Whether you believe that or not, again, that's your prerogative. These are the facts, right? And so essentially he's setting the stage or resetting America back to its natural roots, which needs to be done for real healing to happen. And I think that's what we should be focused on more than anything in the whole wide world. All the other stuff is going to be unsettling and upsetting, but try not to give them your emotional power, because that's a lot of how America also just kind of gains and keeps you in this lower vibration. It's important. Do your own research, do your own studies, know your stuff. But essentially, when we're talking about Aquarius energy, the age of Aquarius, the ending of the Piscean, illusions and delusions, which again, I'm going to get into here in just a minute. I think it's very, very, very important to understand that we want our freedom, and what Donald Trump has been putting out there, whether people like it or not, is just giving people the opportunity to have real, true freedom. And that's what we want. And so, in order to do that, change has to come about. And so we're going to see a lot of people naturalizing themselves, separating themselves from, being on a social security, living off the land, and these types of things are very Aquarian themes. Um, and people even might move, out of the country to go back to their homeland, to align with, who they are, where they feel there'll be more freedom and happiest, whatever. These things are going to be huge, huge themes throughout the next 20 years. It's not just for this particular new moon. People are going to start changing those things on a really, really, really progressive, innovative, thinking outside of the box type of energy. I think we're also going to see a lot more like reform and humanitarian efforts, grassroots efforts, people coming together as a community, as groups, as teams. I think we're going to see this with even technology changes. They're going to have to rebuild something definitely to do with electricity, especially when it comes to California and the fires. This talks of tariffs has something to do. Electricity is a very Aquarian theme. And so we're going to see this talk about tariffs and electricity in some way becoming a really huge theme of rebuilding both the community and the electricity, even how electricity works, which I think, is going to usher in this more like energy safe, clean energy, these types of topics here, I think are going to be, is what's going to come out of this, right? And so something has to break down Pluto to be rebuilt back up in a new, more innovative, freeing kind of way. I think what we're really headed towards is, free energy, universal pay, and access to things. I think the closest place I can think of when it comes to universal funding and money and all that kind of stuff is Canada. I am almost positive it's Canada. I don't know if it's just one in particular part of Canada, but if you go look up like how Canada lives and how their electricity and all that stuff works, when I think of the Republican Party, what it represents, it just gives the ability for people to have more access to homes, living on their own home, having their own land, but you have to pay for everything. And so they're going to have to put the prices up, or they're going to be giving more financially to people to have that ability. It's going to be something to that effect. And that's as good as my brain can kind of muster here, but for people who know how Canada is run, you probably know exactly what it is I'm talking about. And so things might get a little bit more expensive, I'm not going to lie, but the beautiful thing about it is that it's going to balance itself out, where everybody has access to healthcare, the money to live under that thing. Now it's going to take some time before we get there. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of, again, laws and legislations that are going to have to be changed, that people are going to fight, etc., etc. A lot of cities and towns and states can break up because they disagree with this, or you're going to see like CEOs, business corporations, managers and bosses stepping down because they completely disagree with this. Because you have to understand, under the Democratic Party, these people make money off of your enslavement and your ability to depend on them. Whereas the Republican Party, yeah, it might be more expensive and all that, but it's more business savvy. Again, it's just about freedom. It's about freedom. And so you really have to think Black Wall Street, and don't think of yourself as somebody who's beneath, living, above the poverty line. Back then, Black people had money. We were very wealthy and we had our own, everything, just like other countries do now. And that was all taken away from us to again enslave us into a system. I think that was World War II, where the Democratic Party. I talked about this, so I'm not going to go on to a tangent. I really actually like this topic because it makes me very, very happy. But essentially, from a global perspective, I feel like that's what we're being ushered back into, which is a good thing. Just remember, it's a good thing, no matter how it plays out, because there's going to be a lot of disagreements and infighting, but we are going to get there. Um, and so set your new intentions around Aquarius themes. Make sure you also incorporate the house that this is happening in for you. That's going to add more pieces to how you can manifest and play with different ways you want to manifest in this energy. Okay, and then Venus in Pisces. Now, because Saturn is in Pisces and has been in Pisces, and it's also getting ready to move into a new sign, which is Aries, and we're wrapping up a cycle of the Piscean age. We're closing that out. Behind the scenes of this Aquarius new moon with the North Node here, very quietly and underneath the surface, this energy is even way more important than this Aquarius new moon. I'm just going to keep it a buck with you. I want you to keep in mind, again, that Venus is getting ready to go retrograde, and it's going to go retrograde between Venus in Pisces and Venus in Aries, which is, again, closing out another cycle, whether we see it that way or not, but it is. And it's going to be until June when we complete that cycle, the same way we're going through with Mars and Cancer and Mars and Leo, and have been since September of last year. This is huge. This is huge. This is probably the most important because it also sets off the tone for the North Node eclipse season happening in Pisces and Aries. Okay, this is very, very, very important. And we won't, I mean, whatever's coming up for you now will be themes that will be playing out, but it'll get stronger in February. February is the shadow uh, month before eclipse season, which is March and April, where things are really going to start to amp up. So I really think from here on out, the energy is just going to keep building. Let the beat build, bitch. Now that's how you let the beat build. It's just going to get crazier and crazier, but I think in a really good way, though. I really do think this is going to be a lot more positive than we have experienced before. There's always going to be good and bad, but I think there's more positive here than there is negative because we're actually really closing out a cycle. And with that being said, Venus in Pisces is depression, compassion, healing. We can see a lot of insurance scams, which we've already been hearing from the LA fires, money schemes. So be careful with who you're donating to, who you're giving to. Again, like me, I'm dealing with real people. Like if you call me or you send me an email, you're not going to get it. You're just not going to get my attention. And so, just be careful who you're giving your money to. But this can also be in any area of life. This doesn't have to do with just wanting to help out and give back to the LA fires in any area of your life. Just be careful for this type of energy. We're definitely going to see themes like what's being hidden around immigration, the health industry, the drug industry, drug meaning pharmaceuticals, water, like what happened to the water with the LA fires. But just again, in general, even in your personal life, this can bring up some issues with pipes and your water. Whether it's a lack thereof or there's something coming out like, don't drink your water, which, is a thing anyways. Things with the industry, which, that already kicked off with P. Diddy. Now it's Jay-Z. I think we're going to see a lot of social media influencers kind of tumbling down the hill here for lying, not living life the way they say that they are. and things like that, which also is going to lead to both um, influencers and famous people living like regular people. I talked about this years ago when I did the Pluto and Aquarius video. I think I did post it in one of those other videos, but this was quite a while back that they're going to be like, that's another thing about the Republican Party that we have to keep in mind is that it evens out the playing field financially with people. Like, there's not going to be this, oh, these people made mad dough as opposed to the middle class and the lower class. It kind of really evens out where people can be considered equal financially. Okay. I think that is going to be another Aquarius theme that's going to come up massively. We're also clearing out a lot of karma, clearing out soul contracts, getting closure, having acceptance, and it leads to unconditional love, letting go of things that have affected us, things that have influenced us, having blind faith, taking the veil off. The illusions are going to be, I mean, there's going to be a lot of truths coming out that are going to blow people's fucking mind. Okay. And anytime we're talking about Pisces and Neptune, especially with Jupiter and Gemini, Saturn and Pisces, that square, it always talks about uh, we're talking about weather. So flooding, hurricanes, tsunamis, typhoons, emotional hurricanes, typhoons, and tsunamis, endings, deception. These themes are going to be massive, coming to light. People around you, people who you believed in, who you looked up to. You're going to see some things about these people that, it's not going to feel good. It's going to make you very, very sad. You could just be literally crying, and it doesn't have to be for any reason at all. It's just your soul can feel the pain of the world and what we're going through, this change, but it was very, very necessary in order to get to this Aquarian higher mindset. And so deception can be revealed. Again, that leads to the ability to see new higher consciousness. Aquarius has given us the scientific facts and information on databases, articles, journals, medical studies, experiments. We're being granted an opportunity to see what's real and what's not. And that's important to your growth, your soul growth, and being able to open up that third eye so that we can really tap into our intuition and not make the same mistakes in life. And then you also have to look at Uranus, which I do have to mention, actually it's not connected at all in any kind of way to this Aquarius new moon. However, because Uranus is a co-ruler to Aquarius, we have to talk about Uranus. We cannot talk about this without talking about Uranus. And so Uranus has been in Taurus for quite some time, I think since 2017 or 2018, and it goes direct the day after the new moon. And so we're going to see a lot of shakeups, surprises. And this is probably going to be the strongest energy, to be quite frank. When it comes to banks, economics, more earthquakes, things around food supply, agriculture, farming, sustainable energy, changes in value, your self-worth and financing, budgeting, having a job, a second job, your side hustle, multiple streams of income, fast changes and having to adapt quickly to changes, unpredictable changes. So being patient and aware are going to be very, 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 and grounded is going to be very important. Really, I think until March, April, till June, if I'm keeping it a buck. We're going to be pretty up and down all over the place. But I really do think this is more positive changes than it is negative. And then the Aquarius new moon is going to conjunct Mercury in Aquarius, which Mercury does not go into Aquarius until next week sometime. And so We do have to keep in mind now that the nodes have switched from Pisces to Virgo. Anytime we're talking about Mercury, whether it's Mercury in Virgo or not, we have to start considering strongly that Mercury is connected to the South Node with Virgo. And so this is jobs, business, service. This could be things like, divorce court lawyers. So I've already mentioned a bunch of lawsuits. I know that they've already talked about one of the other changes Donald Trump has mentioned is everybody going back to work in person. I think that's gonna cause some problems with people because it's convenient and people like that. And so it's probably going to be opposed to whatever industry you're in. But that's going to bring up some major issues for sure. Just having a more organized work environment in general and having to get back on track if people are going to be in the office more often than not because things have changed so much since the pandemic, right? And that's going to be a theme that's going to come up a lot. Anything around cars, vehicles, traveling, um, your day-to-day routine, health industries. I talked about that with the Venus and Pisces, Saturn and Pisces, North Node and Pisces, health, hospitals, pharmaceuticals, these things. I mean, I'm almost afraid to hear what the fuck's gonna come out. It's either gonna be another variant of some kind of sickness or something, and or a lot about the shot with COVID and all that other stuff. I can only imagine the information that's gonna come out with it being in Mercury, uh, conjunct Pluto. Oh damn! I don't think we're gonna like it. I don't think we're gonna like it at all. But we need to hear the truth. And, there are going to be some people who are going to be like, "Oh, I didn't do it anyway. So y'all know what I'm talking about. Don't look at me like that." But there are going to be some people who actually, participated in that pharmaceutical thing. And, there are going to be health concerns, HR, um, um, mm, mm, mm. I know the ID is going to be another really big theme. I know, in order to travel, that's going to be this, there's going to be something that comes up about that. I haven't been really paying too much attention to it. It had some segue, it was getting some, light shown on it, but then it kind of went away. So we'll see if that comes up again in a big way. Um, Making sure we're focusing on the details. Um, Yeah. But either way, Mercury and Aquarius is going to be saying, let's go about this in a new way, seeing things differently, bringing awareness to our emotions and ideas for the future, bringing up newer possibilities, again, third eye consciousness, inspiring others and being inspired by all this new information coming out, and new future ideas. I feel like I said that already. Engineering, scientifical facts, all those things are going to be super, super huge topics. While Aquarius, not just for this new moon, but the entire Aquarius season. And then the new moon is going to conjunct Pluto in Aquarius, which is intense hidden truths, mafia, these things. I feel like around any kind of criminal activity when it comes to people in power, um, any kind of financial hidden truths. Um, these are going to be really, really big topics. Um, and then on a personal level, you know, I feel like the change can be a little shocking, and traumatic for people. And so therapy, counseling, making changes to the truth that's coming out, being honest with others and ourselves, revealing deep, dark secrets. I know that, we have over the years invested in a culture that says keep these things to ourselves. And right, it doesn't necessarily have to be that you're telling the whole world, but the people that you're closest to or want to get close to, you shouldn't be, this whole culture of keeping shit to yourself is, you guys know how I feel about this. If you've been following me for a long time, I'm not going to go on a tangent. I'm just going to say, you can't expect somebody, especially somebody who's spiritual and woke and knows who they are and what they want. These very intimate conversations you should be able to have with a person that you want to be close to and share intimacy with. I don't feel like we do it enough. I think a lot of people shy away from it and rather have that kind of more shallow side of us come out. There's a lot of secrets that people hold in the initial or the initiation of meeting somebody, that kind of makes you miss out on opportunities. Deaf to that shit right there. And maybe that starts with counseling or therapy for some people. And doing the healing, doing some deep inner work, really, truly, and honestly dealing with your childhood trauma. I think the opportunity for that is going to be necessary for being in this Aquarian new age. Aquarius is all about coming together with a group of like-minded people on the same page, wanting to solve a problem. The world needs to be you know, stop loitering and stuff like that. You can't connect with people if you have these kind of issues deep down inside. Remember, cuppeth runneth over. You're not doing anything for anybody if you are hiding parts of yourself, because you're not really helping at that point. And so it's going to demand, in order to connect, that you open up, you deal with your trauma, what's keeping you from truly and honestly connecting, and even really at the end of the day, being who it is you're meant to be. What is your sole purpose here? And you're going to have to, there's going to be some people who really have to deal with that in order to be the best version of themselves and really help people and not bleed on people because, you're not healed. That's going to be a huge thing, I think. Even financially, it keeps you from being financially successful. And I know we also have some hangups on money and what money really is. But I'm going to go back to Black Wall Street and just remind people that, we were not always broke. There was a time where we were rolling in the dough, and we very much operated like a Taurian system. We bartered and etc. But that also led us to build in the way that what we know the Black Wall Street to be. It's important for us to know that you don't have to be broke, and so really changing our mindset around finances and money is going to be another really huge topic. But essentially we are going to come up with new ideas around these things, how to heal, how to come together, how to work together so that we can grow and flourish so that everybody can do well. And those who are ready to be honest and make changes are going to be shedding their skin, transforming and changing in ways that are going to be put in positions to help people do that. And then I think the most exciting part of this new moon is the trine to Jupiter and Gemini. This is optimism, expansion of ideas and collective efforts and grassroots efforts and support, especially I think, again, from other countries. And again, if it's not from other countries so much so, it's going to be grassroots efforts of culture, learning culture, art, incorporating those things into what we do, music, love. Um, I think those things are going to be really, really huge here. Growth and abundance, wisdom, travel, philosophy, joy, information. We're definitely going to be learning how to spread true knowledge and information, growing and expanding in universal law and spirituality and religion. Again, whatever your thing is, I think it's going to be revolutionary ideas coming together. Writing down your ideas is going to be the best way to manifest during this time. Connecting with friends, collaborating with others, having a bunch of meetings. If you're doing any of those things at this time, guaranteed you're going to come up with some real solid, dope, new ways of moving forward. This could be meeting with old friends, friends from when you were younger or in high school, especially once Venus goes retrograde. There's going to be opportunities for you to heal and close old chapters and also, continue those friendships in ways that could really blossom into something super amazing and beautiful. This could be a time of great fortune because, people and connections can be a form of currency. When connecting with people, talking about ideas, again, take notes. Believe it or not, notes is a form of currency. Information is a form of currency. This can be a great time to learn how to communicate and solve problems and learn from others' experiences. Having get-togethers, parties, gatherings, community events, joining a group, joining a professional group, a professional network, expanding your social network, any kind of online groups and platforms. There's going to be a lot more important information coming out. There's going to be important parts of a story coming to light that was forgotten and scattered throughout the retrogrades. And then you have the lower expressions of this, which is gossip, becomes more than it is, so don't make assumptions, ask questions, get clarity, and verify those facts. It can also bring in support to the Aquarius new moon and really help you accomplish something again to move things towards the future, which I think is going to be so, 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 so amazing. I don't even think that we see it yet, but just even like the feeling of coming together and not feeling left out and being a part of something great or something that's going to become something of the future is going to be an amazing feeling. You can say, I was a part of that. I helped somebody or I helped some way in some form do something which can be very inspiring and it opens up your heart. Again, going back to that idea of learning how to connect and be vulnerable with other people, which I think is probably going to be the dopest part of the Aquarian age in general, is learning how to be vulnerable with other people because we don't have that anymore and we were never like that before. And I think it's desolated us and turned us into zombies. And we need to change it. We need to change it because we are not nothing if we don't come together and work together. It's always going to be the same. And I know we all want better. So that is my interpretation of this new moon in Aquarius. As usual, fam, I love and appreciate you. I hope you found this information helpful. Peace.